Welcome to another podcast. My name is Dr. Jason Wiggins, and I am your Gen Z and Millennial expert. Welcome. Today's date is February 18th, 2021, and today is Thursday. So happy Thursday. You may be listening, and it may be Friday. So happy Friday. The weekend is just about here. So it should be a fantastic weekend wherever you may be. If you're within the U.S., hopefully you are thawing out from the disastrous weather we've had. And if you're abroad, I hope you're enjoying the weather and wherever you may be. Today we have a great podcast. But before we get started, I did want to talk a little bit about just a recent class discussion that I had. I just got off a Zoom call with one of my classes. And in this class, we have a very diverse population. I have 5 students in this particular class. And one student was from Iran, another from Serbia, Mexico, Brazil, and I think Iran, if I didn't say that. So there was 5 total countries represented, including mine, which was the 6th, being the United States. So it was a great topic about inflation, social capitalism, and how the middle class is ultimately being squeezed. And there was quite a bit of debate. It was pretty exhilarating hour-long debate as all the sides, all 5 individuals discussed their viewpoints and what they thought. And surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, there was 5 different viewpoints, from talking about how Americans are lazy, to where Americans are working very hard, to where there's always trying to basically one-up the other person, no matter what they're doing. And then a lot of the individuals talked about how their culture played a big part of their savings. So, for example, if somebody makes $5,000 in the United States and you are an American, you typically spend $4,995 of that. While in one of the other countries that was represented in our discussion, they may save 20% of that. So again, Americans find themselves in a lot of debt typically because they take on a lot more things that they want, while other countries, necessarily family, culture is a big part of saving money. And it was just a great discussion about social capitalism, inflation. For example, inflation over the last 40 years has continued to increase, while the living wages has continued to shrink. They've never stayed above each other. Back in the 1960s, you could have one household member working while the other one stayed home and helped with the kids, cleaning the house. And then the 1970s came, and pretty much as in the 80s and 90s to where we are today, it is now a 2-person income. And I'm not even going to get into how that leads into all the other situations, the stress, the high amounts of suicides in the United States, people losing their minds and doing shootings. And so a lot of other countries will say Americans are crazy. I don't know if it's Americans are crazy or Americans have just gone crazy. But that was a great discussion. I wanted to bring it up. And I really want to get into tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is really an important one, because you may have heard the term growing up so much. You have potential. Have you ever heard of somebody saying that to you or somebody else? You have potential. We all have potential. We all have earning opportunities beyond our current means. We all have the opportunity to capitalize on our value and the potential that we have. Think about this from a corporate standpoint. Think of a young executive, or maybe somebody executive in training, or manager in training, somebody that the organization sees that This may be an individual that possesses potential qualities and skills that are transferable in our business. So they have potential. So we put them on a fast track to management or some sort of management and training. So that is when an organization sees somebody of interest. Now, here's the flip side of that. When somebody says you have potential, some organizations, what they'll do is they'll call it a management and trainee position, but they will just basically work this person to the bone. They'll have them do everything and work 60, 70 hours a week until they get burned out. There's some rental car examples of people with like Enterprise. I'll put them on blast for a second. Enterprise, for anybody that's worked for Enterprise Car Rental, they'll get individuals that just graduated from college and they'll put them on the management fast track. But what happens is these individuals will work 60, 70 hours a week, 6 to 7 days a week, and they will burn them out. And guess what? They just go in, plug and play the next potential management trainee that's graduated from college. And this is typically a cycle that they go through. That's just one example of somebody saying, you have potential. And that's where I think as individuals, we have to realize, what is our potential? Or do we even want to fulfill the potential? Some individuals will go, you know what? I'm happy with life. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm not looking for anything more. I'm not looking to capitalize. And that's fine. In America, it always seems that somebody is always trying to get bigger, better, faster, make more money, try to please family, friends, ego, cultural, whatever it may be. They're always trying to take it to the next level, which always increases the stress aptitude that you experience. And then you forget about work-life balance, you forget about family, you forget about the reason why you strive to get where you are today. And that all stems from the potential that we have. Now, potential is not a negative thing. Potential can be a very exhilarating, exciting, and way for us as individuals to really prepare ourselves for something better. And we have to find out, what is that something better? What is the aspect that really is the most insightful aspect of what we're looking for? And as always, I want to share, what my examples and if I've had as a young child. I'm not sure I had much potential. I think it was more I had motivation. Some people would see me as somebody that was inspirational, somebody that always was a rah-rah type. And that was more that was my potential. I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't the athletic. I wasn't the coolest person. I wasn't the dumbest person. I wasn't the smartest person. I was just your average kid with just basically raw skills that needed to be developed, that needed to be mentored. And that is how I found my potential. We all find our potential in different ways. Sometimes our potential comes early in life and we are identifying it, or others help us identify our potential. Think about a baseball player, somebody that had a bat thrown in their hand at the age of 3 or 4 years old. Here in San Diego, we have a potential superstar baseball player, and Fernando Tatis Jr. Well, his dad was a major leaguer for 20 years. His dad was and is the only player in baseball history to hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. It will likely never happen again. But his son is even better. He has all the skills that are transferable for exciting career, and his potential was deemed early. Now, he didn't put all those pieces together until a little bit later in life. And he had the skills, but he didn't have them all where they need to be. They weren't polished, and they're still not polished. But now, the San Diego Padres, invested $340 million over 14 years because he has the potential to be great. That's just one small example of somebody realizing your potential and where the ceiling is high. That's another thing I want to talk about is the ceiling. What does the ceiling mean when somebody says you have potential? That means they see raw talent that you have now, but when they see a ceiling, that ceiling can be uncapped, meaning the sky's the limit. You may be somebody that's good, but you could be extraordinary, you could be great, and you could be the best of all time in your specific field because the motivation's there, the work ethic's there, and that tireless aspect of your life is where you're striving to continue to be good is just untapped, and the work ethic is very, very much sought after and known by others that have seen you work. That's why potential can be raw, it can be something that's extraordinary, and it can be something that is greater than ever seen before. So people will invest in potential if they think you have the work ethic and drive. Now, the other flip side of that, have you ever known somebody that's you thought, boy, this person has potential to be great? Maybe it was in academics, it was in athletics, it was in debate. You saw this as somebody maybe in school, college, in life, at work, but that potential was they basically were never able to take that potential to the next level. They had the talent, they had that special something, but they just failed. They fizzled out. Have you ever seen somebody like that? Absolutely. We all have. Because you know what happens? Sometimes talent can only get you so far. But if you have that potential that will take you to the next level, and you work hard and you strive and you keep working on your craft, you have the opportunity to be great, and you will likely be great because you don't rest on the talent you have. We all have talent. Talent is basically something that is typically God-given. You've tapped into it earlier in life, and now you have the opportunity to take it a step further, make it a career, make something that you can be great at. But you just take your talents and then you stop working. I've seen it so many times, and it's really painful to watch. That talent can take you to the next level. So a couple tips I want to share about what it is to have that potential. Number one, potential is in eyes of the beholder. So if you yourself see that you have potential, how far is it going to take you to reach your goals, to reach what you want? Do you want to be good? Do you want to be great? Or do you want to be the greatest? So that's the number one is potential is in the eyes of the beholder. Number two, how far are you willing to go? How much work are you willing to put in? That's number two. Number three, tip three is if you were going to stop tomorrow at what you were doing to reach your potential, would the people around you question, why did you stop? You were so good. You could have had so much opportunity. And that's a question you have to ask yourself. Is it something you're passionate about? Is it something you can continue to do? Or are you just going to decide, you know what? I don't want to take it any farther. And will people be disappointed? Remember, we don't do things on the disappointment of others, but we should realize the talents, the potential that we do have, and to make that somewhere to where we enjoy it. Because if we're good at something, We were given a God-given talent, so we need to transform that into something that could be beneficial to others at the same time while we are enjoying it. I hope the 3 tips make sense. I hope you enjoy it. And if you're looking to figure out what your potential is it untapped? Have you scratched the surface? Or have you decided that I know what it is and I'm going to take it to the next level? Regardless, as Gen Z and millennials, the potential can take you a long way. It can make you a lot of money. It can give you notoriety. It can make you feel proud and fulfilling. But I want to mention that anything you do, anything you have in life can all be taken for granted, and potential can be taken for granted. So don't let that potential be taken for granted, because one day you'll wake up and you go, you know what? I had that talent. I had that God-given ability, and I really didn't take advantage of it. And you may be kicking yourself in the tail one day. So thank you for today's podcast. If you have a chance to like, subscribe, please do. I appreciate it, so that way you know when I provide the latest content, you'll be able to listen to that as soon as you have a chance. And feel free to email me at jason@jwigginsconsulting.com, or check us out on our website, genzandmillennialexpert.com. So thank you again for your listenership. I appreciate it. And if it's in the morning, afternoon, or night, take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you again here soon. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to talking to you most likely on Monday, unless we have a podcast here on Friday. So thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.